Hello, I'm Alita, your writing coach at Word Essential, and today's writing tip is to address a question I get quite often from my clients. They want to know, should they join a writing group? Well, the answer is that depends. Writing groups can be a really wonderful source of community and feedback for your works in progress, and it's also great to connect with people who get it, who know what you're doing creatively and what it's like to try to manage being a writer with having a family, a day job, etc. However, writing groups can also be a mixed bag. They can be a huge drain, a big time suck with no real payoff. So, how do you know whether or not you fit in with that group of writers? All right, some of the things you're going to want to think about are genre. What genre do you write in? And what is everyone else in the group writing? If you write science fiction, you probably don't want to join a group of romance writers or literary writers unless they really love science fiction and read it often, because frankly, people who write in one genre aren't necessarily going to be able to give good feedback on another genre. It's not impossible, but it's less likely than if they have an understanding of what's out there in your genre, what the conventions are, as well as reader expectations. Now, joining a writing group can be really beneficial to you as a writer, because it's a great way to hone your writing skills. It's so easy to see the mote in our neighbor's eye or manuscript before seeing the plank in our own. As you get practice spotting mistakes or flaws, weaknesses in other people's work, eventually you'll be able to turn your critical eye to your own work and spot those mistakes without needing to pass your manuscript to someone else. And that'll make you a much better writer and save you time when you get into the feedback stage of drafting a manuscript. Now, some of the things to watch out for in writing groups, some of the drawbacks. One is the too many cooks in the kitchen phenomenon. This is where the writer ends up changing the manuscript over and over, trying to please everybody and incorporate everybody's feedback. And what you end up with isn't so much a stew as a giant mess with no flavor of its own. So avoid that. It's best to be very selective about the feedback you take from the group. Usually there are one or two people who really get you and their feedback resonates with you. So pay close attention to their feedback. With the other people, look for a consensus. Look for any comments that resonate and really make sense to you. But take their feedback with that grain of salt, knowing that you need to trust your gut about your work before you try to make everybody else happy. Another drawback is that people can be defensive or thin-skinned. We put a lot of time into our manuscripts, and it's hard to have people criticize them. And in a writing group, it gets personal. So you need to go in knowing that people are going to be critical of your work and really accept that. Look for it, be grateful for it, because it's going to help you grow. Now, there's a difference between constructive criticism and ripping a piece apart. So if you're in a group where your work gets shredded every week or every month, leave the group, bail. That's not a worthwhile experience. Likewise, if you're in a group where there's that one person who's super defensive, who just cannot take the gentlest criticism at all, well, you or whoever is leading that group might have to ask that person to leave, because that can poison the whole group. It's no fun to try to help somebody with care and consideration and have them blow up in your face or melt down. Another drawback is many writers, especially less experienced writers, think they know what they're talking about, but they're really spouting writing advice that's more like pop psychology. So if you're getting feedback that you think falls into this category, ask the person giving you that feedback, why? Why do you say this? Why do you think this is the right way to do this piece? See what they say. Listen to them with open ears. And if it sounds like hooey or they just really don't have a grounded understanding of the points they're making, disregard. Say thank you. Be polite, but disregard that feedback. Likewise, when you give feedback, it's great if you can have a why behind the advice. If you can do that, you will stand out as a leader in your writing group. Now, you might want to find a group to join. If you do, you can expect to go through several, maybe even 10 or 12, before you find one that's a really great fit for you, for your genre, your level ability, and personality. That's a big piece of it too. You might also want to start your own group, and then you can sort of curate the personalities that are in it. The first tip here is to have written guidelines and a structure to how each meeting is run, whether it's done online or at your local coffee house. Just having things written down will help people to abide by kind consideration when giving feedback, not hogging the floor, or having meltdowns. It also gives you something to refer back to if you ever need to talk to somebody about their behavior. Whatever kind of group you're in, don't hesitate to leave it if you've given it several rounds of manuscript exchanges and the feedback you're getting just isn't useful or constructive, or if those personalities aren't gelling. And if it's your group, don't be afraid to ask people to leave the group. That might be difficult, but it'll be worth it so that you can cultivate a cooperative, supportive, fun writing group for all of your members. So I hope that helps anybody who's thinking about joining or founding a writing group. I'm Alita Winternheimer, your writing coach at Word Essential. You can find this and other tips at wordessential.com/blog. Have a great writing day.